All right, everyone, welcome back to the Performance Matters podcast. I'm your host, Matrixx. I'm very fortunate today to be joined by Bob Raybould. A couple quick things. As always, there are two types of people in this world. There are subscribers and there are non-subscribers. So you might as well join the cool kids. Like, follow, subscribe, share on whatever platform of choice you choose, Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. That way we can keep bringing you guys weekly rants, raves, and revelations, as always, right here on the PMP. Second, big shout out to our sponsors. I'm Performance Center, the premier strength conditioning facility right here in the Niagara region, located in the northeast end of St. Catharines. You can reach us at www.ironperformance.ca. And a big shout out as well to Pete Method Photography, the premier sportographer in the Niagara region. He too can be reached at www.petemethodphotography.com. As always, support local. So, guys, jumping right in, Bob Raybould. For those that don't know us about you, give us a quick background story, a quick synopsis.
Well, in a little over a month, I'll be 90.
Wow.
So my background is long.
Big runway.
I served in the Army during the Berlin buildup. Then I got an MBA in 1964 and went to work selling life insurance. Did that for 15 months, working about 60 hours a week. Was not having what I felt was great success, so I quit, used my MBA, and went to work for a large corporation in New York. And after 2.5 years, realized I wasn't cut out to be part of a large corporation, so I quit, went back to Salt Lake, and started selling life insurance again. And again, I was struggling. Then I listened to a motivational tape that said, set a goal and visualize what you're going to be doing after you reached your goal. My goal was to 4 times the amount I'd been making in New York, and the picture was to drive a Porsche. So I went to the Porsche dealer and sat in a Porsche, and when I touched the steering wheel of that Porsche, my life changed because I suddenly felt different. I felt like a Porsche driver, and for the next 3 weeks, I continued to listen to that motivational record or information, and whenever I touched the steering wheel of my Volkswagen, I was a Porsche driver. And after 3 weeks, my mindset changed, and I became a Porsche driver in my head. I didn't know how I was going to succeed, but I knew that I would. And 30 months later, I had 4 times my income, living in a new house and driving a Porsche. And then, interestingly, the momentum I'd built was so great that without setting another goal, I doubled my income every year for the next 4 years. So it was a pretty significant increase. And then I went on to financial independence and a number of different business ventures. And I've also spent a lot of time working with college athletes.
Wow.
Big
Thread.
And then in more recent years, I helped a group leave the CIA when the Berlin Wall went down and form a data mining company. Helped my son and his partner form a hedge fund that went on to outperform the market by about 8% a year for 20 years. Had a number of other interesting opportunities in different industries. So just had a really, really lucky, happy life.
Yeah. No, there's a lot to unpack there. Like that's a lot to unpack there. And I want to kind of go back to that Porsche moment. So like what changed? Like, once you kind of visualize yourself as like the Porsche driver, like what happened? Like what do you think that difference was?
Well, in traditional growth, I've helped athletes do quick traditional growth. If a young man, 14 to 21, his mind's just going every place, like a wild horse. But if they'll do one thing, it'll help them. And if they'll just look at their thumb and try to concentrate on their thumb and nothing else, as they do, tension builds. But if they'll add, and I have them let the tension build, I say, concentrate on your thumb as long as you can. And when you can't concentrate anymore, look up. And they look up in about 5 or 6 seconds. I said, now the second time you do it, fight through that concentration and lock in.
Yeah.
And they can do that and lock in, and they have changed their mindset in a minute or so to somebody who can concentrate from somebody who can't by doing what they needed to do.
Mhm.
And that's a form of traditional growth. And every time we do use traditional growth, we take little steps along the way like that, and then we reach a goal and we see ourselves differently and change our mindset. And from then on, we are acting like a different person. Now, some of the change in mindset takes place during the journey, some of it after. This is a tool that's entirely different. We change our mindset before we start, and then we're performing at a higher level right from the beginning.
Okay.
And it's done because of emotions, not logic, not not affirmations. It's not think it till you make it or fake it till you make it. It's simply saying 3 or 4 words over and over and over again, 3 or 4 words that describe emotions until you first believe you'll succeed, then you're convinced, then you'll know you'll succeed, and then the 4th step is you'll do whatever it takes to succeed because you've created this new mindset that won't let you do anything else but succeed. So it's entirely different than anybody else has ever experienced. And when I explain it, they try to fit it into something else they've already done because they can't believe that somebody can come up with something new.
Mhm.
But it's kind of when people went from saying the world's flat to saying it's round, or saying that planes fly, or computers really work. It takes a mind shift to even think outside the box. And so this is, in my opinion, different, and that makes it hard at first to use. But once you start using it, it just changes your life.
Whoa. That's I've never heard of that. So like the thumb, like concentrate on the thumb and then do it a second time, and then it's almost like a realization that you can concentrate.
Well, just look at your thumb right now
All right. Let's do it.
and would stop. Wait first. It'll feel right. Okay, feel the tension build. Feel how you've locked in. You can stay looking at that thumb for a week because
Yep.
you locked in, right?
Mm.
Some other kid, when he's first beginning, the tension will build and he'll have to look up. But then it's easy to learn to lock in. And once you're locked in, you just stay that way. That's why you're a great athlete.
Used to be in my own words. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay.
you know how to, if somebody who's spent their life practicing a musical instrument, they know
Mm.
how to lock in just like you do. Everybody who's succeeded in time learns how to lock in. But one of the steps to locking in is concentrating, is learning to lock in. That your mind wants to help you, but you need to train it.
Mm.
And that's traditional growth. You're doing something to create a result.
Mm.
This is different. You're just feeding emotions to create a result.
Okay. Okay. So emotions drive actions, essentially.
Yeah. And if you accumulate enough emotions for a long enough period of time, if you say these words for 5 or 6 minutes, you will change your mindset. And
Mm.
that will then cut the journey in half. And for a big goal, it may take a couple of hours. But if you can save yourself 6 months by spending a couple of hours, that's a good investment.
That is a good investment. So now on the emotional side, so we're saying emotion will dictate action. Are there emotions that athletes should actually embrace rather than suppress? Because I guess there's a wide range of emotions athletes might feel based on certain situations, everything else like that, right? Fear, anxiety, anger, joy, you know, all those kinds of things.
Well, if you think of excuse me, if you think of a goal that you'd like, is there any problem you'd like to solve, or because we might do a little experiment to let you to see the tool, how different the tool is.
Okay.
If you think of a challenge, think of a goal, think of a problem that you want to solve. Now, let's set a date for 30 days.
Okay.
We're going to solve this. Now, think of a couple of benefits that will come to you by solving it. What benefits might come?
Okay. All right. So let's say, for example, I want to find a way to utilize time better, like time management and organization. Let's say that one. A little broad, but for the sake of on the spot, we'll do that and say 30 days. Benefit could be freeing up more time to spend time with my family, enjoy some time for myself, hang out with my dog. There you go. There's a few.
Right. So it's family and self and dogs.
Yeah. Love dogs.
Okay. And the dogs. Okay. Great. Those are the benefits that come to you. Now, what are 3 emotions you're going to be feeling? One of them will be gratitude.
Mm-hmm. So like the emotions I'll be feeling thinking about those benefits.
No, thinking that the emotions you'll be feeling after you've achieved your goal, after you've received those benefits.
Right. I'd say gratitude. I would say, I guess validation. I'm feeling validated that I can, and I guess self-respect. I set something out to do it. I feel worthy.
Okay. Worthy. So gratitude, validation, worthy. Gratitude, validation, worthy. Okay. Now, we're going to play a game and use a tool. It's going to take us 3 or 4 minutes.
I'm in.
Okay. Think of the goal. Better
Okay.
use of time. Now say the emotions. Gratitude, validation, worthy.
Okay. So think of the goal and then say gratitude, validation, worthy.
Think of the first benefit, family, time with family.
Mm-hmm.
And we say the emotions again. Gratitude, validation, worthy.
Right. Family, gratitude, validation, worthy.
Okay.
Self, validation, gratitude, worthy. Dog, gratitude, validation, worthy.
Okay, and we do it again.
And again, yep. So family, gratitude, validation, worthy. Self, gratitude, validation, worthy. Dogs, gratitude, validation, worthy.
Feel a change?
Feel light.
Just a little bit lighter?
Yeah, feel light.
Yeah, okay. Now we'll keep doing it.
Okay. So run it again. All right. So family is gratitude, validation, worthy. Self, gratitude, validation, worthy. Dog, gratitude, validation, worthy. Yeah. I just keep repeating it.
And we just keep doing that. And as we keep doing that, you will be convinced you can be better use of time.
Whoa.
And then I hope you'll do this after the podcast, and then keep doing it over and over. And it takes a lot of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But in 3 or 4 minutes, you will have become a better manager of your time, because you will have created a new mindset that says, I can manage time. Right now, your subconscious mind, which is incredibly powerful, is fighting against change. It doesn't want you to change. That's why change is so hard and growth is so hard. And what this does is, by saying those words over and over again, you kind of break down the wall and cause your subconscious mind to open up And this goal of better time management becomes part of your subconscious mind instead of someplace outside it where it's fighting to get in and the subconscious mind is fighting to keep it out. Now it's inside, and your subconscious mind is helping you become better at mind. I mean, that's what happens whenever we do a mindset change, and that happens after we succeed. We're doing this mindset change before we start, and then the results follow.
I see. So like, for example, that drill we just did, that's is that like a daily thing? Like you say, hey, we're going to keep doing this every day,
Yes,
every day.
and you just keep accumulating those emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and but the 4 steps is first you believe you'll succeed, then you're convinced, and then you know you'll succeed.
Mm.
And step 4 is you'll do whatever it takes to succeed.
Ah,
So once you'll reach on better management of time, you'll reach the goal in 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes. But then from then on, you'll keep saying those words every day, a few minutes a day, and your and your ability to manage times will just increase.
mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
your mindset will be there after that first 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So today you'll conquer it, and then you'll just build on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it works that way with any goal. I've used it to increase my income, gain financial independence, lose weight without dieting, overcome childhood trauma, become a better person, succeed in uh, 8 different kinds of succeeded in about 30 different businesses in about 8 different kinds of industries.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just, I've used it to write the books, I'm using it to market the books. Anything I do, I first change my mindset first, and it makes it whatever I'm doing easier. I mean, it just,
Yeah. So you've used it with businesses. You said you also use it with high performing athletes too. And have they noticed the same like changes? Like, hey, they feel I'm almost like saying, okay, cool. So we're doing the drills. If there's a sensation there, and now are the outcomes more likely in their favor? Like we've seen results from that.
well, Johnny Bryant, who's the associate head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Mhm.
went to school at the University of Utah, and he was my scholarship athlete.
Really?
So I took him to lunch a few times. And when he was the first season, he was a junior college transfer, so he was only here for 2 seasons. First season he was here, his free throw percent was 80%.
Hmm.
And I had him use the tool, and I didn't really understand it fully at that time, but well enough that the next year he shot 90%.
Okay.
So a 10%
Yeah.
increase. Um, Before that, Urban Meyer had been the head coach at the University of Utah. And the first year he was here, he let me work with his kickers.
Hmm.
And I improved all of the kickers and the place kickers and the punters. Um, and I gained enough success there that in the off season, he picked out 6 players he thought had more potential
Mm.
and had me work with them. One of them decided he didn't want to play football anymore, so I guess I made progress in a way with him.
Yeah.
But of the other 5, 4 of them went on to play in the NFL,
Huh.
and not a low percentage of college kids get to play to the NFL, and to get 80, you know, 4
Yeah.
out of 5 that I was working with, was not bad.
Yeah.
And then I had enough success with those, 5 players that he just let me I was working with probably 20 players during that undefeated season.
Hmm. Wow.
And
That's
then it was kind of fun because when Urban went from Utah to Florida, and the second year he was there, he won the national championship. And the field goal kicker he had kept missing field goals. And
mhm.
so I called her I called Urban's friend Hiram, and said, "Why don't I work with that kicker?" And so I worked with that kicker over the phone. And in the championship game, he made the field goal.
Huh.
So it was, I mean, it's really incredible. Well, every athlete has a mindset of success that's successful. You had a mindset of success. And this just uses emotions to change the mindset so you can succeed faster.
Right.
It isn't, if you want to become a bad person, you can use this tool and become a bad person quicker. It doesn't rob anybody of their agency. They can choose if they want to become bad, they can become bad. If they want to become good, they can be, if they want to be a better person, they can use it to become a better person.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be a better athlete, but it can't move us beyond. I can't become a great athlete because I don't have the physical ability. So, I mean, there's real facts, but if you use it for a reasonable goal, you'll achieve that reasonable goal. And one of the big things about it is that once you change your mindset, in the past, for instance, let's look at time management. When you've badly managed your time and screwed up, you may be down for a couple of days because you screwed up because your time management was bad. With this, when it's kind of like the waves of the ocean, when a wave hits us, instead of knocking us down and keeping us down for 3 or 4 days, we just say, wait a minute, I'm going to succeed. So I use this wave as a learning experience, this knockdown as a chance to learn more, how I can be more successful in the future. So it changes the way our life happens because we know we're going to succeed. So whatever's happening is helping us succeed.
Okay. Okay. So essentially it's like a tool. So, but it doesn't replace obviously hard work and skill and everything else. It's simply maybe a tool for acceleration.
Now that was perfect. That's perfectly said. It increases acceleration. You still
Got
have to do the work. You still have to cover the territory. But the other thing that's big is that when you're using traditional growth, it's a struggle and a frustration as you fight against your subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind is helping you. It's a joyful journey.
got it. Okay. I'm curious, like how would you respond to maybe critics who might say success comes from hard work and skill, not emotional alignment, we'll call it.
That's a great question. I think that people are afraid of emotions and may shy away from using this tool because in the past, emotions have helped us all do things that were dumb.
Yeah.
Nobody chooses to do road rage, but it still happens.
Hmm.
And so we're kind of afraid of emotions, and yet they're more powerful than logic. Anybody who is successful is using emotions to be successful. I mean, that's why you worked hard, is because you knew that you were a winner. And when things came up to try to slow you down, your emotions help you fight through whatever was trying to hold you down. And all this does is use emotions before you start to make your mindset strong, which makes it easier to fight through whatever's holding you back.
Got it. Got it. Can someone be highly successful even if they're, let's say, emotionally unhealthy?
Yes, I think that I'm not talking about emotional help in that you're a good person. Um, Many people that are very successful are very narcissistic and only think about themselves. For a
Hmm.
number of years, I really loved using this tool because when I was born, my father was in a mental hospital receiving electric shock treatments as a result of World War I.
Yeah.
And my mother, her mother had died when she was 8. At age 14, she found her brother in the basement electrocuted by a power surge, and she just learned to shut off her emotions. So she could never feel emotions or show emotions. So as a baby, I've got a mother that can't show emotions and a father that's in a hospital, and I feel abandoned.
Yeah.
And make sure I don't get abandoned again, I just have to work hard and be special. And that's what drove me to so much success. But then in using this tool, I went from being that way to being a human with strengths and weaknesses and learned the wonderful, wonderful thing that failure is not a problem. It just helps us learn things to be more successful. But the fear of failure when I was trying to be more and more successful just drove me mercifully, unmercifully to just work harder.
Yeah.
And so I'm not talking about mental health. I'm just talking about that emotions have power. And if you say 3 or 4 words that describe emotions over and over again, you can change your mindset. It
Mm.
may not make you healthy. It may not make you it certainly won't make you unhealthy. It's not gonna change that. It's gonna change your mindset, which will change your performance in the area of your goal.
Yeah. So essentially, it's more just kind of like narrowing the scope a little bit to fine tune the lens of what you're
Yeah,
working towards.
it's it's just getting inside it's kinda like your mind is full of a bunch of onions, and using traditional growth, you go into that onion from the outside, a layer at a time. With this tool, you chop the onion in half and start right at the core, immediately change your mindset, and then grow from the inside out instead of from the outside in the area of that onion, that goal. The rest of your life isn't going to change. It's just that goal that you're changing by using this tool.
Yeah. And that could ripple, obviously, that could ripple out to some very positive outcomes in multi areas, obviously, depending on what the target is.
And you're going to use it for better time management.
Yeah, it's a great example. So
And that,
I'm curious too, like where'd you come up with this, right? Because you said you have an MBA in business, is that right?
yeah,
Yeah. So
was-
like
I,
where all this come from?
I was listening to The Strangest Secret in the World, which was a motivational uh, speech that Earl Nightingale gave in 1953 and put it on a record. And you can get it on YouTube for free and listen to it. Just an amazing best motivational piece that ever been done, I think.
Yeah.
Listen to it over and over again. And then I thought, well, I'm going to try this. I'm going to set a goal. And then I visualized myself driving the Porsche and I went down and sat in that Porsche.
And that was it. Yeah.
And that's when I went from intellectually trying to change my mindset to emotionally changing it.
Yeah.
And then every day for the next 21 days, over and over, I was feeling how I was going to feel. I didn't understand the way to just feel the words and make it happen faster. I was just em- grabbing the steering wheel and feeling the feelings. And then 5 years ago, I thought, I need to understand this better and help other people use it. And so I started writing about it and decided if it's so powerful, why don't I use it to become a better person? And I don't want to become a better person. I thought it was, but I thought if this tool's so powerful, it can help me become a better person and that'll help me be more effective. I'm going to do it. And it took me about a week to flip the scale and change my mindset. And 18 months later, I was a better person, and I've just kept becoming better. Because what happens is that the way it works is that we've had experiences. When we're born, we can do anything we want. But as we get older, we have experiences and we collect ideas that hold us back. Most of them come from our ancestors, and they keep us from seeing who we are as a child. They keep us from fully performing. And all this tool does was create more emotions around the ideas that I can do it than the emotions that are holding the idea that I can't in place. And as soon as they're outweighed, then this one's in control, and I know that I can, and I've changed my mindset.
Got it. Okay. So essentially, like the emotional control stimulates a curiosity and to which you want to focus more on.
Yeah, and it's just saying those words over and over again, as you'll find out when you use it for time management. It'll blow your mind how fast it changed and what a powerful change it makes.
Yeah. I mean, like, hey, man, if you've been doing it for years and you've had some success doing it, I mean, like, it's crazy. You said what, you're 9 years old. So you're probably in the 30s, like during the Depression, you've lived through World War II, like all that kind of stuff. Like, that's a runway of life where there's just a lot of things going on. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, and it's been I've just been at the right place at the right time doing the right thing over
Yeah.
and over and over again, and I think part of it, um, I'm a believer. I believe one of the great benefits of using this tool and changing your mind is that you get your mind helping you, but you also get your greater power of the universe and others helping you because you've taken the time to use these emotions and change your mindset.
Yeah. Now, the Porsche reference, you said that was in the 50s? That was in the 50s when you kind of had that
No,
moment?
it was in 1968.
Okay. So after your time in Germany, like during
Right,
the Berlin. Okay.
right.
Got it. Yeah. I'm trying to piece together the timeline here because I'm like, me personally, I'm always infatuated with history when it comes to like people that have like that have lived through a time where it's like we don't really have that kind of, you know,
Yeah,
timeline anymore.
I was I was born in 1936, which was the very depths of the recession.
Yeah.
Um, in 1944, just before I turned 8 years of age, or just before I turned 9 while I was still 8, um, or 1945, while I was still 8 before I turned 9, was VE Day, where the war stopped in Europe, and I went down as an 8-year-old and celebrated in the
That
middle of
must have been
Philip.
crazy.
I mean, crazy. And then, so when the Berlin Wall went up in 1961, and that was the year I graduated from college, and I was supposed to have orders to serve in the Army as a second lieutenant for 6 months, and my orders got canceled, and was sent to Germany for 2 years.
Yeah. Whoa.
And so
That must have been a time. Holy smoke. Holy smokes, man. That's crazy. When that okay, so when was Vietnam? Was Vietnam in like late 60s?
yes, and
Yeah.
that was my brother, who was 8 years older than I, was in Korea during the Korean War and was right at he was here when the Japanese came down. He was a second lieutenant in the artillery, was a forward observer. There were 12 forward observers or 11 forward observers in his unit, his battalion, and 3 or 4 or 5 of them got killed. The rest of them got injuries, and he's the only one that didn't get killed or get an injury.
Wow. Wow. That guy's got a horseshoe, man.
Yeah, I mean and he then led a group of soldiers out by a difficult way and ended up with a Silver Star for doing it.
Wow. That's awesome. Like just the history alone, I could talk for hours. I'd pick your brain up for hours on this kind of stuff. Like I'm always infatuated by that stuff, but I'll try to get back on point here because I will get lost on the history point because I was always curious, you know what I mean? Like from that time point in history, like people that have experiences and, you know, the visuals and, you know, having a tie to it. That's just always incredible to me, but I'll try to get back to the point here. So back to when we're talking about like the emotional control and the skills. What separates athletes, do you think, who thrive under pressure versus those who crumble? Right? Is it kind of like you said, just being able to create that lighter emotion where it's more focused in? Because again, I'm sure people try mindset stuff and they still choke. I'm always trying to figure out, like, you know, how, like, what prediction are we kind of getting from it?
Well, I think um, it's hard to understand that anybody could come up with something that's entirely new.
Hmm.
So it's hard to believe that what I'm talking about is something that's new. We try to fit it in. But there are two ways to succeed. One is the traditional way, where
Hmm.
you do the work and then you succeed, and then you build your mindset. And if it's tough enough, you'll fight through everything. If it's not quite tough enough, things will take you down. That's just traditional growth. This is entirely different because you're saying these words over and over again and creating a tough mindset before you begin.
Hmm.
And as you continue to say those words, it gets tougher. But it's not going to get tough enough to make you stronger than who you are. It's simply a faster way to get your subconscious mind, which is incredibly powerful, helping you succeed rather than fighting against you.
Got it.
That's all that I'm pushing is something that helps somebody succeed faster and have a happier journey.
Hmm.
They may not end up more successful than they otherwise would have, but the fact that they're succeeding and half the time will give them time to end up more successful than they had the time to succeed if they weren't using this tool. Does that
Got
make
it.
sense?
Yeah. Essentially, you're buying back time to have a longer runway to hopefully achieve the outcome.
Yeah. And so this allows somebody to succeed in half the time,
Got it.
which
Okay.
now makes things that are otherwise impossible possible because you've got time to succeed at them.
Right. I got it. Now, how have there been individuals or cases that you've kind of worked with for maybe whom the methods didn't work? Because then my question would be like, okay, so you know, maybe it's not for everybody. Like maybe they've tried it and maybe it's their definition of, you know, succeeded or failed. So I'm curious, if there's been a case or two from your experience working with people that maybe the method didn't work, and then what did we learn from those experiences?
Most of the people I've tried to get to use it haven't used it.
Hmm.
And much of that, I think, was my fault because, well, I'm big on the fact that everything's my fault because if I want to, let me back up a second. Some people are victims.
Mm.
It's never their fault. It's somebody else. I didn't have a good coach. I didn't have the right team. I didn't get the right chance. And what happens when you blame somebody else, you're giving away your power to fix it.
Yeah.
And I thought the biggest problem I'm going to have was getting people to quit being victims and start being accountable for their results.
Hmm.
But found that as soon as people start using the tool, they become accountable. They give up being a victim. Being a victim is just an excuse we use to keep from telling ourselves that we're a jerk. I'm
Hmm.
a jerk because I couldn't do it. Now, if I blame somebody else, I don't have to admit I'm a jerk. But it's just a self-defense mechanism to keep feeling bad about ourselves. And as soon as you know you can start moving forward, you don't need that defense mechanism anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm a big proponent of responsibility. The more responsibility you take, the more control you have
Yeah.
for to dictate the outcome versus if you kind of put the blame, or you put your fate, if you want to call it that, into someone else's hands. Well, you're asking someone else to hopefully present you with an opportunity versus you actively taking control and seeking one for yourself.
That's right. And I guess what you're talking to you has been very valuable to me, because what I guess I'm doing is I'm not changing anything that anybody's doing. I'm just giving them a tool that'll help them do it faster,
Mhm.
so they'll have more opportunities to succeed.
Yeah, that's
To
right. I agree with that.
change the mindset, use the tool, change the mindset before you start, and you'll have more opportunities to succeed.
Got it. Yeah. I guess I would kind of like ask you this. What advice would you give someone who wants evidence before adopting these practices? And I get it, because I like to think, we had a guest on the show a couple weeks ago where we were talking about science and research, everything else like that, but really science is proving the obvious, right? Like people, like there's studies coming out saying like, okay, smoking is bad for your health. We kind of knew that, but years later they're saying, oh, it actually is bad for your health. Like, yes, we kind of knew that already, but now we have to prove it, right? Like it's kind of the same thing. So I understand the fact that we're like not really inventing the wheel, but we're simply trying to pioneer something, get some anecdotal evidence for ourselves and our own experiences. And then maybe, I don't even know how, I know I'm not a scientist, but I'm curious how we could even prove that. So I know there's going to be people that are skeptical, right? Because you have people saying work hard, do the right things, and they don't really consider the emotional side of things. And as you mentioned earlier, emotions almost have been kind of demonized in the earlier days, right? Like now it's becoming more, I guess, normalized to talk about emotions and maybe consider it. But I don't think really a lot of people are actually talking about like kind of like harnessing your emotions to actually use them in a way that's going to accelerate you. So, what advice would you give someone who wants evidence before adopting the tool or the practices?
Well, the first would be to pick something, a really small goal, where you can prove to yourself, like I'm suggesting for you, in 6 or 7 minutes,
Hmm.
that you can get better at the use of time management.
Yeah.
Then you've accomplished a goal and you proved to yourself, now, do I want to use it for other goals? Yes. But there are lots of studies where the CIA did one where they played different kinds of music to people to use the right brain and the left brain.
Yeah.
I think that's really very similar to subconscious and conscious, very much along their line. Some therapies they use tapping to try to get people past problems that, real serious problems they've had. I mean, all these, all I'm giving is saying 4 words gives you a way to, let's say your subconscious mind is a car that's locked, and it's of no value to you as long as it's locked. This tool gives you a way to say these words enough that you get inside your subconscious mind and you can modify it in relation to a goal, and then it starts helping you as far as that goal is concerned. Hasn't changed anything else, just that goal.
Yeah.
And there's these other studies, but because it's something new. I knew a guy that was a vice president for a major corporation, and he was on a board with me, and I was talking to, we had invented something and we thought it was new, and somebody else had something was very similar. I said, "Oh dear." And he said, "No, that's the best thing in the world, because if it's already out there, all you have to do is prove you're better. But if you're brand new, you have to prove it's okay." And that's what my struggle is I've got something I think is entirely new, not just better, but new. Now I've got to really, I've got a wheel. I've got to tell people I really invented a wheel.
Yeah. You pretty much guys like, guys, look at me, I got this. Like, no, for real, you gotta try this.
Yeah, you got it. And so it's just, but I think the momentum is beginning to build where people are recognizing, wow, this may give me more opportunities I can get anyplace else. I think what you've said there is just so beautiful that, you in the rest of your life, you may have time for 30 opportunities. Those could give you time for 75.
Nice.
If you're happy with 30, great. If you like 75, try this.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give it a swing. I'll talk to the staff and the boys too, and we'll give it a run. Is there a belief that you've changed your mind about over the years?
Yes. When I started with this tool, I thought it would help people get more true ideas. I really believe that because I experienced that my greater power was helping me. But this tool helps you get more help from your subconscious mind to go in either direction you want. You can become a better person or a worse person. It'll just help you do what's ever in your heart. It'll help you do it faster. But once you do some things that aren't working very well for you faster, then you'll change your direction. So in the end, it may be getting better ideas for people, but initially it just helps you do whatever you want faster.
Right. So just to reiterate the tool, it's you set a goal, you pick 3 benefits from the goal, and then you pick 3 emotions from achieving the goal. And it's repeated for like 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah. And just keep saying the reason you haven't reached your goal is you've got ideas that are in your subconscious mind that are holding you back.
Yeah, like a lot of noise, kind of like noise versus signal.
And they're held in place. Those false ideas, those ideas that are holding you back are held in place by emotions.
Mhm.
You're saying these words over and over again. So you've got more emotions on the side of succeeding than that are on the side of holding you back, and it flips the scale. You're just flipping a teeter-totter.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, like that was very helpful on that. Like I'm very curious myself to try this, and like I said, I'll talk to my staff and say, hey, like let's give this a go and like document it. Like I'm curious. I'm always like just doing mini case studies anyway. Might as well document how these things go and see if we can make quantitative evidence from subjective practice.
And I think you'll find it. And we're getting better and better information on our YouTube channels. We're doing lots of shorts, giving pieces, and then we're going to start in the next 2 weeks a class people can join for like $20 a month. And we'll just teach them how to use the tool and how to keep using it over a long period of time by giving them more and more information. Because the biggest thing I've learned, I guess, is that unless somebody is receiving reinforcement almost every day, using this tool is so different that you'll give up. But this daily reinforcement will just change it to where you'll be using it, and then it becomes a way of life, and you are achieving 75 goals instead of 30.
Got it. All right. That's very helpful. I want to kind of wrap things up with a few quick questions, and then we'll kind of call it for us. Um, what do you think is the most overrated success habit?
Hard work.
Really? Really? Hard work. You're gonna that's against the grain, eh? That's really against the grain.
Well, think about it. How hard do construction workers work?
I assume pretty hard.
There's lots of people that are working really hard that aren't getting results. It's hard work without mindset.
Got it.
Once you combine mindset and no hard work, there's no results. It's mindset and hard work.
Yeah.
And the beauty about this, once you change your mindset, you are willing to do whatever it takes to succeed, which is hard work. I mean, your new mindset forces you to work hard rather
Yeah.
than you forcing yourself to work hard until you change your mindset.
Yeah. It's almost like they're putting the cart before the horse, essentially. Like you're just kind of driving blind.
Yeah. And once you have the mindset of a beginner, which you have, You work hard. So why not get it first to help you work hard?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Now, obviously, like we work with a lot of young athletes as well, and having parents, that kind of support their young athletes and their young people. Is there a piece of advice or something that parents should start doing, and maybe something parents should stop doing when it comes to having maybe an influence on their child's success?
Well, I think it's accountability. Being accountable, are they becoming the kind of parent that helps a child succeed, or are they trying to whip it's mindset. Have they changed their mindset to be somebody who can help a child, or is their job to use a whip because they haven't helped their child change their mindset and they need to whip them to make them work hard? Once a child changes their mindset, they start working hard and the parents can help them. So, yeah, to me, changing the mindset first solves not 80% of the problems.
Yeah.
And changing it later has you doing it. You see, I'm trying to get a donkey to work. I can beat the donkey or I can put a carrot out in front of it.
Hmm.
Well, all I'm doing is putting the carrot out in front of it and make the carrot and surrounding the carrot with so many emotions that it becomes so delicious they can't resist going after it.
Nice. That's a good metaphor. That's a good metaphor. Are there any recommendations on books that you might recommend, anyone that's listening, that maybe you recommend them read?
Well, the two that I've written,
There you
success,
go.
the success by emotions and believing by emotions.
Got it. I'll have to put
And
that
the
in link.
difference in those two is similar. Success by emotions is for businesses and places it's not politically correct to mention higher power, and believing by emotions is where you can mention higher power to people who believe in a higher power. So, they're basically the same books, and this one just talks about higher power.
Got it. Nice. All right. Well, I'll kind of wrap up with this. If an athlete or somebody listening today could only take one thing from your life's work, what would you want it to be?
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're absolutely right.
Bobby, way to go, man. That was stoic. Yo, I rate it. It's been honestly a pleasure. Um, if people want to learn more about you, or tap into some of your resources, where can they find you best?
We do workshops at bobraybould.com. My books, Success by Emotions and Believing by Emotions, are both have channels on YouTube.
Got it.
And we've got an Instagram channel, and I can't remember the name of it.
They'll find it. They'll
Okay.
find it. That's awesome. Like yeah, this has been an absolute pleasure. Like again, I could talk for hours, and I can't keep you, but it's been awesome hearing your story. Appreciate making the time for it, and it's a lot of great insight. Like I said, you have some life experience that people can't even fathom, and I respect it, and I think anyone listening is in for a real treat. So really appreciate
Well,
your time. I
I
will.
appreciate it, and I want to thank you for the opportunity because it's been very valuable to me and just given me a connection with you that's going to be for last a lifetime, and I appreciate that.
Hey, Bob, my pleasure. So, everyone, this is the Performance Matters podcast. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. If you guys can, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And of course, keep us in your thoughts, follow us, because we want to make sure we can always bring you guys the best weekly rants, raves, and revelations in the performance realm, whether an athlete or not, in leadership, team culture, you know where to find us. So, until next time, everyone, take care.